Margarita Island, known for its breathtaking beaches, tropical climate, and vibrant culture, had always been a dream destination for my family. The idea of spending our vacation on an island paradise had filled our hearts with excitement and anticipation. Yet, as we arrived at the condominium that was supposed to be our temporary home, our spirits took a nosedive. The complex, despite its size, looked somewhat rundown and eerily deserted. It was as if we were the only souls inhabiting this place, aside from the caretaker who greeted us upon our arrival. The sense of isolation was unsettling, and it cast a pall over our expectations. The most striking feature was the pool, an amenity we had all been eagerly looking forward to. However, it was anything but inviting. The pool was empty, devoid of water, with a yawning crack in the middle. A wire fence encircled it, hinting at something amiss. We were initially disappointed, but little did we know that this was just the beginning of our surreal adventure. We entered the two-bedroom apartment which, at first glance, appeared decent enough. However, there was an undeniable sense of abandonment that clung to every corner. It was a spacious unit, accommodating all of us comfortably. My mother, one aunt, and my grandma claimed one bedroom, while my other aunt opted for the other bedroom, accompanied by her husband and their newborn baby. My brother and I, always up for an adventure, set up camp in the living room, where a sofa bed awaited us. Our first day on the island was spent exploring it. We savored a delightful local lunch, indulged in some souvenir shopping, and took in the vibrant atmosphere. Returning to our temporary abode after sunset, we couldn't help but notice how the place had transformed. The darkness had a peculiar weight to it, and an eerie quiet hung in the air. It was a stark contrast to the bustling island we had explored during the day. The evening didn't offer much solace, as a heavy rainstorm unleashed its fury on the island, and the ominous gusty winds rattled the windows. Huddled in the dimly lit apartment, we decided to watch television in an attempt to drown out the unsettling ambiance. Hours passed, and it was well past bedtime. The living room's sofa bed, although shared by my brother and me, had offered a cozy haven for rest. That is, until an abrupt intrusion disrupted our tranquility. I felt a sudden, unexpected weight on the bed, and I turned to find my mother had unceremoniously joined us. Her presence was unusual, as she had her own comfortable bed in the adjacent bedroom. My brother and I, initially annoyed by the lack of space, complained about her intrusion, only to be interrupted by her hushed, trembling voice. "Shh, be quiet and listen," she implored. "It's La Llorona." La Llorona. The name sent shivers down my spine, and I'm sure my brother felt the same. The room grew deathly quiet as we strained to hear. And then it began. The harrowing cries. It was as if the very air was charged with anguish, and the room felt suddenly colder. The sounds were an eerie combination of wails, moans, and what could only be described as crying. The cries cut through the night, a mournful lament that struck terror into our hearts. I pulled the blankets over my head and squeezed my eyes shut, desperately wishing to be anywhere but there. I silently prayed for the cries to stop, for the nightmare to end. My mother held us close, her grip reassuring in the midst of our shared fear. The baby in the other room began to cry as well, adding to the discord. Rain pounded against the windows, and the storm outside seemed to echo our turmoil. Time became an indistinct blur, as we clung to each other in the darkness, hearts pounding in our chests. At last, after what felt like an eternity, the cries ceased. Silence descended upon the apartment once more. My mother did not leave the sofa bed, and none of us dared to move until the first light of dawn crept through the windows. The next morning, we reconvened in the living room to discuss the events of the previous night. My aunt's husband, perhaps out of a desire to dismiss the dread we had felt, laughed off the experience, suggesting it was merely cats engaging in amorous activities. He contended that the cries were those of a female cat in distress. My other aunt, my grandmother, and my mother, however, remained firm in their belief that it was La Llorona, the weeping woman. The disconcerting night continued to haunt us, and I found myself avoiding being alone whenever possible. I would keep the bathroom door wide open while showering and made sure to have someone close by. My aunts, keen on indulging their playful side, took every opportunity to tease and frighten me. My brother and I, still bewildered by the experience, were determined to uncover the truth of that night. We decided to approach the condo's caretaker, a man who had shown an unnervingly calm demeanor throughout our stay. He seemed like someone who held the answers to our questions. We found him and shared our theories regarding the mysterious cries. The caretaker acknowledged that he had heard the cries as well, but his response was unnaturally composed. He listened to our speculation about cats and La Llorona, and then, with a measured tone, revealed the chilling story he believed to be the real explanation. "It was neither of those," he began. "I know what happened." He went on to recount a macabre tale that had unfolded a few years prior, during the same time of the year. According to him, a tragic incident had occurred at the very condominium we were staying in. A baby had drowned in the pool, a horrifying accident that had cast a shadow over the place. Since that fateful day, every year around the anniversary of the tragedy, the same cries and moans were heard. The caretaker's revelation sent a chill down our spines, confirming our worst fears. We relayed this bone-chilling information to our family, but our words fell on deaf ears. They remained steadfast in their belief that it was mere superstition, and our terrifying experience was chalked up to the overactive imagination of two teenagers. Thankfully, our stay in that unsettling place was limited to a couple more nights. Although we didn't hear the cries again, we struggled to find solace and sleep during the remainder of our visit. Eventually, we packed our bags and left the enigmatic island behind. Margarita Island, with its natural beauty and charming culture, is undoubtedly a captivating destination. However, for me, it will forever be associated with that fateful night, the mysterious cries, and the unresolved fear that lingers in my memory.